It's clear to all that Jeremy Corbyn's leadership of the Labour Party certainly spooked certain corners of society, namely the rich and the powerful, the pundit class, and Israel. But there's one individual who has been in the news lately who couldn't hide his disdain for Corbyn. That man, of course, is Peter Mandelson. Mandelson has been a long-time critic of Corbyn. Speaking at an event for the Jewish Chronicle, Mandelson couldn't hold into his desire to undermine Corbyn every single day.
A long-standing member of the Labour Party, and you nub its roots, you like its values, and you look at previous governments, you see what they've achieved for our country. Why do you want to sort of walk away and just pass the title deeds of this great party over to somebody like Jeremy Corbyn? I don't want to. I resent it, and I work every single day in some small way to bring forward the end of his tenure in office. And every day, something, however small it may be, an email or a phone call or a meeting I convene, or people I see, or Labour MPs I encourage, or young people I sort of take out and try and, galvanise them. Every day I try to do something to rescue the Labour Party from his leadership.
Him saying, I don't want him, I resent him. I mean, Mandelson has a very personal vendetta against him. Now, this was Mandelson before the general election on his support for Labour Islington North candidate Praful Nagand, who was facing an independent challenge from Corbyn.
I'm going on Saturday morning to Islington North in order to campaign for the Labour candidate against the independent Jeremy Corbyn. I'm doing that because what I think Jeremy Corbyn stands for, his ideology, what he's done to the Labour Party, the sort of defeat he took us down to in 2019, and the alternative that's offered by the Labour candidate is so stark. I want to go out there personally and back the Labour candidate and do everything I can to make sure Corbyn is defeated. So yes, I do like what Starmer stands for in contrast. And yes, I do think he's on the what I call the realistic wing of the Labour Party. But I also like certain values. He has a decency. He knows what he wants to do. And I think that he has a compass. Starmer has a moral compass, not an ideological compass. And that's what I like.
Like, you can see the anger and disdain for Jeremy Corbyn in there. I mean, he travelled all the way there, specifically to that sea. Not because he particularly really cared about Praful Nagand, it's just to beat Jeremy Corbyn, but it didn't work out well for him as Corbyn trounced the Labour Party's Praful Nagand. But of course, Mandelson has bigger troubles for him, namely the Epstein files. But Jeremy Corbyn has also been named in the Epstein files too, but for very different reasons. This is one example. In an email sent to Epstein, the redacted person said that if Corbyn becomes PM, they will be moving to Portugal. It goes deeper. Matt Kennard tweeted this. Keir Starmer joined CIA-linked trilateral commission while serving as Corbyn's shadow Brexit secretary. He did not inform Corbyn. Starmer served alongside two ex-heads of CIA. Ex-CIA director said in 2019, "We will do our level best to stop Corbyn." Jeffrey Epstein was also a member. Some coincidence? And you know what? It got me thinking. Is it actually possible that the main reason Mandelson hated Corbyn so much and tried to undermine him every single day was because as Prime Minister, Corbyn would have access to at least some of the info and would have gone for Mandelson? Harriet, obviously Corbyn's politics, it was a threat to the establishment, but what if part of the driving force was certain powerful people being scared of being outed if Corbyn became Prime Minister? I mean, am I being really conspiratorial here?
Well, okay, Curtis, I think the thing that the Epstein files show is that we no longer need conspiracy theories. The tinfoil hats are now surplus to requirements. Leave them at home. We don't need them. Jeremy's really having the last laugh today, and I'm actually super glad for him. His name crops up in the files multiple times, and it's because these wealthy elites are slagging him off and they're shit scared of him ever getting into power. They wanted to stop him winning at all costs. That's what this has shown. He didn't represent their interests. He wasn't going to protect them. They had to make sure he got nowhere near 10 Downing Street. In the Commons today, Richard Burgeon said that Mandelson was rewarded with the ambassador's job, UK ambassador to the US, which is known as one of the absolute diplomatic plum job that you can get within government. He was rewarded with that job for his role in working to destroy Corbyn's leadership and the Corbyn project, and to get Starmer into power, surrounded by people like Morgan McSweeney, who are all part of the Starmer project. And honestly, I think I will go as far as to say that it's thanks to people like Mandelson that we have the government that we have, that Corbyn failed to enter Downing Street, that Corbyn lost the 2019 election. I mean, without the machinations of people like Mandelson and McSweeney, and dare I say Starmer, we could be in a very different world right now. We could have a very different government. We could be having a really different conversation. We also know that Mandelson was involved in handpicking candidates for safe seats in 2024, right? While they were blocking and suspending left-wing candidates, they were stopping people like Faiza Shaheen from standing for the Labour Party because they said she wasn't a high-quality candidate. If you look at all the MP scandals that we've had in Labour since then, we will know that this whole high-quality candidate thing was just a load of horse shit, and they wanted to keep left-wingers out. I mean, I wrote the morning newsletter for Novara on Monday about Mandelson and Epstein. And the point that I really wanted to make in it, which I'm going to make again here, was that thanks to this latest dump of files, we know we have a new wealth of evidence, pun very much intended, that we live in a really deeply sick plutocracy. And that is a society where wealth is king, where wealth decides everything. Wealth and power are the ultimate mark of elite, and it's where people with disturbing levels of money and influence consistently protect, support, house, finance, prop up each other and serve their interests. And that is an ecosystem that hasn't gone away since Jeffrey Epstein died in a New York prison cell. I remember being in a very centrist newsroom post 2019, 2020, 2021, Corbyn's name was absolutely mud. You really couldn't mention him. Every time he was mentioned, it was in the same sort of breath as anti-Semitism. You were constantly seeing stories and tweets. Every time he spoke, it was like, oh, that's anti-Semitic. And I love that the whole thing about David Baddiel saying that Corbyn, saying Epstein's name in a specific way has been dug up again today. Also a bad day for David Baddiel. I would love to see it. But without Mandelson and with Corbyn in power, the whole rotten new Labour edifice, a Labour that doesn't serve working people, was going to crumble, and they couldn't fucking have that.
Yeah, Jeremy Corbyn faced... I say Jeremy Corbyn, we all faced a devastating defeat in 2019. But at the very least today, he has the last laugh. I mean, he's been on fire in Parliament, making digs and jokes about Peter Mandelson. He knew he was a dodgy dealer. I appreciate. I mean, before we carry on the rest of the stories, I appreciate it's a difficult question, but do you think anything's going to happen from these Epstein files? People, a handful of people might be arrested, but do you think this is going to bring about bigger change, or is this kind of akin to the Panama Papers? Oh my God, there's mass tax evasion and avoidance, and then next day, no one really gives a shit.
Well, in the next story, the literal point that I'm going to make is, where are the prosecutions? Where are the charges? Where are the prosecutions? Where are the people actually being held to account? If everything was equal and we lived in a fair society, Starmer, McSweeney, Streeting, the entire royal family, it would be over for them now. It would be the end for all of these people. They would no longer be in public life. We would also be having conversations about the funding, the tax affairs of the royal family, how their place within British society, all of that would be in question. Now, I think that that Corbyn's interventions today about not giving the Intelligence and Security Committee, essentially security services, not handing them the power over these so-called Mandelson files about the vetting process, I think that Corbyn's made a really important intervention there, because we should not trust these elements of the British state to hold people to account in this way. We can't trust them with this story. It has to be an independent inquiry.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
asking the question about like whether anything's going to happen, I really hope so. I fear not. But if this was a fair, normal, not through the looking glass world, Starmer would be resigning tomorrow.